Thank you for clicking on our video. This is Taking on the Thames. So, well, we are down and we are battling the boats today because we've come down to one of the main stretches of the Thames. Now, even though it's not going to be easy fishing down one of these spots, it has got a perk, and that is the fact that anywhere from the Staines Bridge 16 miles downstream is absolutely free. So even if you haven't got so much as a weir license, all you need is just a standard rod license and you can fish these areas for absolutely nothing. You can come on down here, bang out a couple of silvers for certain, and who knows, you might be the one that bangs into something big. But until then, let's see what we get today. Got the trusty old maggots. I mean, can you really come down the Thames without maggots? I'm gonna literally fish these maggots within an inch of their life this year. Because the way I see it is, you know, I've got this big rod out on some meat today. And I could use the sweet corn on this. But then of course I'm eliminating any perch or, you know, eels, forbid. I don't necessarily want to be catching eels, but anything we'll do out of here, as we well know, it's not the easiest place in the world to catch anything. But let's see how quickly we can bang into something today on the old maggotays. Doesn't seem to be as busy as it normally is out here. Because although we're in the middle of summer, it is chilly and we are in to something. First chuck, skim it across that top. Mr. Perch. Lovely stuff. So nice little perch to start. One thing you've got to be wary of with the perch, obviously you've got these big spines here on the top. It couldn't be any noisier right now. I don't know if you can hear me or not. But you've also got to be careful with the gill flanks here, because they're sharp too. As you can see, he's just done me. So we're chucking back, covered in my blood. Jesus Christ, I've never seen a fish fly so fast. That's a pretty good start. That was no messing about, was it? Straight away. Which is what we like. I don't know how many times I've said it in these videos, but I do an half like a perch. So again, no messing about, straight on the double maggot. We'll fill that back up with feed. You boys need to get in this cage. And hopefully I'm not going to get too tangled up all the time. Hopefully I can make the most of it not being as busy down here and fishing out a bit further than I usually would again. Only trouble I've got, of course, is the threat of crossing over my line with this big boy rod, because that's probably in a very similar spot. With, of course, that being out on the luncheon meat and this being out on the maggots. Little line bite there, it could have been wind. Might not be as quick on the bite here because we just had all them boats go past. I would, of course, love to be fishing the other bank right now, because it's typical, isn't it? No matter when you're fishing, the other bank always looks fishier than the one you're fishing on. Single bleeps on the big boy rod again. But feels like the river's got a bit more flow to it today. So that could just be debris floating down the river. Just bumping into it. Little knock there. And again, maybe. Not entirely convinced. Could be. No. Nothing. Like I said, that initial slow spell there could have been because them boats had just gone past. So with a bit of luck, this chuck might be a little bit quicker if this maggot would like to get out of the way so I can accompany him with a friend. Fill this bad boy up. Chuck half the maggots all across the bank before we throw it out. Perfect. Maybe not as far on this one. Now, even though I'm fishing with both of these rods quite close together, I have put a back lead on the big boy rod this time. Because boat traffic or not, I've decided to put that out in the middle of the river. And I'm hoping that by walking out there and casting out and then putting a back lead on, I'm hoping that the line's gonna stay clear of any boats. So far, so good. But also, with a bit of luck, providing I don't put this rod directly on top of the line of that one, it should keep it clear of getting snagged up and cross line in it. It's only the first chuck, so if I do find that I pick that line up at any time in the immediate future, I can always reposition this big boy rod elsewhere. Maybe even give it a try of knocking it right over to the far bank. Oh, every time you're not looking, isn't it? Every time you don't pay attention. Something now. Could be another perch. Oh, he come off. It was another perch though. I can still see him actually. He's about the same size as the last one. So we're smashing into the perch, it seems. They're pretty good still. So I wonder if we'll manage to knock any bigger perch out. I don't know about you, but it don't seem to matter what you're reeling in. If you feel something tugging on the end, you always give it that little bit of hesitation, just to sort of give it a bit of a feel, to give you a rough idea of what you've got, you know what I mean? Just to give it a chance to give a pull, so you can get a rough idea what sort of size you're dealing with. Feels like the feeder might be moving about a little bit out there. Two perch though, I mean that one don't count necessarily. Didn't hit the bank, did it? But hitting two quickly like that could mean we're into a nice shoal of them. I don't want to say too much just yet because that always seems to spook them off. You know, where there's small perch, there's always that possibility of a bigger fish. We definitely had a knock there. Not convinced. Might just give it a little. Again, not convinced. So we'll give it another little as we can. Full twos. We're not so close to the bank today, so we can play the whole reel it in and give it another chance. Whoa, probably that was closer than I thought it was going to be. That come out the water right now. Maggots are slightly gone. Switch them up. So with the amount of bites, today could actually be a point of, it's not necessarily the fishing that's not going great, but my striking might need to improve. Let's get that bad boy filled up again. Whip it out there. Yes! Trying to sink that line. Didn't seem to want to tighten up at all out there. This is what I was talking about with the feeder not sitting so tightly on the bottom. It feels like it might be moving about a bit in the current. Interesting that. Might check that in a minute. Either that or it's malfunctioning. We're into something here. There's nothing monstrous. Another Percy. Oh no, this time we got a Mr. Roach. Sprightly little roach, nice. We always like a roach, but it would be nice if this was a bit bigger. Slipping back. It's more like pike bait, that. And he had the audacity to swallow it up. Whack it out there. Yoink. Still very hush hush. Another beep on the big boy rod as he says that, and again. Just keep my eye on that. Fair bit of movement on there, which does say to me that maybe there is quite a bit of a current out there today. Feels like it could be snaggy down there. See now, it's literally moving, it's not like it's the wind or anything. There it goes again, lifted up. So we find out I've had a bream on there for the last 25 minutes. I would kind of like to get one more fish on here before I go checking that rod. A little bit further out than the last chuck. I think it'll be too long before I stick my jumper on. I think we need to check this in a minute. No, I keep saying it. because that was a proper trickle there. Could be line bites, you know. We've got quite a sweet smelling ground bait on there. It's not a small piece of luncheon meat on there. I'll say luncheon meat, it's a bit of pepperami sausage. It's not a tiny piece. It could be smaller fish trying to get at what's on there, you know what I mean? Or it could be debris from the river flowing down. I'm literally getting bites on the drop now with this, but I think that it's a case of the bleaks, so small that they're not getting it in their mouth. I won't bother putting another basketful out there just yet, because there'll still be some out there, no doubt. Doing a pretty good consistent job of it in the same spot every time. That was a better bite. Could be a slightly better fish. That was not massive. Ah, he's come off and all. It's not going well, is it? We'll see what's going on with this big rod. If I can just hook that on there, would be handy. Let's have a look. This meat certainly seems okay still. I might just sprinkle that with some of the ground bait. Fill this right up. I think I'm going to be brave this time and really try and hammer it over to the other side. And just pin it down with the back lead. I'm going to try and get it as close to this far bank as I possibly can. I've got a nice feeder full of ground bait there. And a big old bit of sausage. Still not as close as I'd like it to be. But I'm sure that will have to do for now. And then what I'm going to do, what I'll do now is I'll whack this back lead on. Just to try and pin this down so it don't get picked up by the boats. No leaks in the waders, so that's good. And then we'll just walk this back. This weather is no joke. It's getting a bit nippy out here. I have to stick this jumper on, I think. But not before I have another cast on the old Magatays. This is a good test to see if the back leads have worked. Why you need to drive that close to the bank, I do not know, honestly. It's always a battle against the boat traffic on these main stretches, especially in summertime. Everyone out with their toys, and you kind of get it in waves here because we've got locks, so you know they're all queuing up either side. Yoink! Get back down on there. So we got a bit closer to the far bank with a bigger rod, but the next cast I'm going to definitely try and hammer it over there. Trouble is, if I don't make it so many times, I'm going to end up leaving a trail of ground bait everywhere. Ideally, if I could nail it once, then it gives me a good idea of what kind of strength I've got to whack it out there with. I don't want to end up with it in the bush, that's the thing. We're into a fish, but is it going to stay on? Another Percy, old perch. Identical to the last one we had. And he done me in his gills. I think this is probably the exact same perch that I had this morning. I'm slipping back. Go and tell your big brother that we're here, please, mister. And tell him there's free food for all. As long as you don't mind getting a hook in your face. It could be in again here. This feels like it might be slightly bigger. It's another Percy perch. Slightly bigger. Done me again. This guy's a slightly bit bigger. So we are definitely on the perch today. Let's see if we can't get one a bit bigger than this, which would be superb. Away you go. Okay, quick pit stop there. We've swapped the hook over now from a size 16 to a size 12 because I don't want to risk hooking a big perch and then losing it because I've got a piddly size 16 hook on. A size 12 would still be a bit of a risk, but anything bigger than that and you're going to start eliminating roach and the smaller chub and things, so hopefully if we do hook anything with this, we've got more of a chance of getting it in no matter what size it is, because they're not barbed. I'm not fishing with barbed hooks. I don't like using small barbed hooks on small fish. Bit too brittle. There's a bite. No fish to reward us though. No maggots either. So at least the size of the hook and the slightly thicker, because I'm using hooks to nylon. The size 16 was on £3 line, and this is on £7 line, this size 12. So at least we should be safe if we do hook a bigger perch and not breaking the line. My consistency on that cast has been so good. Oh, nearly struck that then. I'll strike that one though. I don't want to say it, but it could be a bit better. Or it could be exactly the same. I'll say that's a bit better. We're going in the right direction, guys. We are definitely starting to get there, a little bit bigger on the perch front. Whoops, away he goes, on the ground of course. That is a promising sign, isn't it? A nice 2.5 pounder would be ideal. That'd make today perfect, followed by a 20-pound barbel. Consistency is the key. Yes! think there's something there, but we might be going backwards again now. What we got here? Chubbly bubbly. Little juvenile chub. These guys always give me jip. Little juvenile chub. This is no means the kind of stamp that we expect out of the Thames. You are going back, mate, before you end up on the floor like Mr. Perch. Now that does look like perfect pike bait, doesn't it, that? Probably get yourself a nice double figure pike on something like that. Which is one thing you can be certain of with the Thames, is there are some nice pike in here. That is one thing it definitely has going for it. It's just everything else is a struggle to find. Maybe because there's so many bloody nice pike in here, they've eaten everything else. Another feeder full of maggots. Get back among them perch, hopefully. Either that or a big old daddy charm would be nice. Yoink! So we have got a nice feeder full there of ground bait and maggots. I'm just holding back here just to make sure there's no more boats coming. Doesn't sound like it, probably is. Perfect. Well, I'll get one over. And I've still got my luncheon meat on here. I can hear another boat, so we'll just wait a minute. And the objective, ideally, is I've got so many trees opposite me, and there are so many little hidey holes and whatnot that I can see. I just want to try and nestle it in amongst some of that, you know. So I'm going to have to really whack this one out there, fingers crossed that we knock it into one of them little gaps in the bushes. And give yourself a better position. Got another boat coming now. This is the trouble with the Thames. This is why I have to use these back leads, because I would literally be hanging my line out there in the perfect position for it to just catch on a propeller or something, and then it gets torn up there, and there's no way you're getting your stuff back then, you know. So we'll wait for this. That was a bit better. Not quite in there, but close enough. Just lowering the rod to sink the line. And I'll drop this back. Dip that in there. Stick this clip on. That sink down now. A little bit of line still on the surface, so I'll just lower the tip of my rod. Just reel very, very slowly. Give it time to sink. Hopefully that's sunk enough not to get stuck on any of the boats when they go tearing past. Thought that was a big old fish, it went, it was a seagull. Bit chilly in here today. Certainly won't be doing this too much in the winter, that's for sure. And we know we've done it right when this goes tearing off. Like that. Behave. Limber! Shut up. What I don't want is that to be struggling because of the current, which sounds like it might be a little bit. Either that or I've got fish on there already. That looked like a decent cast. If I was a big old fish, that's the kind of place where I'd be hanging out. We've got a boat coming through now, so this is a good test again to see if the line's low enough to not get snagged up. He's coming in quite close. There's smoke coming off of it. Don't sound too healthy, does it? Well, that worked at least. It hasn't gone screaming off. Let's see if we can bang into them perch again. A little bit short on the cast. Not really optimal. But with a feeder full of maggots out there, it's kind of pointless bringing it back in. Might as well give it a go. Where it is. Another boat coming. This is a bit bigger. This would be a better test. All seems good. Couple of little bites there. We're in. Oh, it come off. That felt like a better fish, that. Dang it. I've got to stop hesitating and trying to guesstimate on what kind of fish we got on before it comes in. I should just focus on getting it in. Because that felt half decent, that. There was a big old bend in the rod. Would have been that bigger perch that we were after. Fish again, jumping off the surface as soon as the feeder hits the water. So probably going to get bombarded with bites on the drop here. We've got something, but I don't think there's nothing to write home about. This could be the smallest one of the day. A wee roach. This is not the fish that we just hooked, that's for sure. Oh, and he's gone straight through my legs. Oh, he's in the water. That counts. It hit the bank. I don't want to jinx it, but it just feels like we could get a decent perch out of here. Well, this has certainly died down now. I mean, it's been a while now since we've even had a bite. There hasn't been much boat traffic going past. I'm seeing an awful lot of small fish jumping about, which could be a sign of a predator in the area, which could be why we're not getting nothing. That was almost convincing. Certainly has a liner at least. I would appreciate it if that rod tore off. Just give it a bit more. Ooh. If it did that for literally another 2 seconds, I would strike that rod. I am tempted, but not yet convinced. Could just be garbage. Not convinced, guys. Not convinced. Nothing. Well, we have come to the end of another session on the Thames, and we didn't really get much, did we? We bagged a couple of small ones. We had what felt like a couple of liners on the big boy rod. One of them definitely felt like a decent run, but again, it didn't really formalise into anything other than a bare hook. What we want is something that's over £1, you know, especially with a perch, something like £2 or something, and with a chub, I mean, £4 or £5 would be nice on the chub. But it doesn't mean that this will be the last time we come down on this spot. Like I've said many times before, places like this can be amazing for pike, and there is always, just always that one chance you might bag something nice. You're not gonna know unless you're down here giving it a go. So for now, I'll be Mark Payne, this be Taking on the Thames, and I will see you later.